responsiveness is really the legacy of our company.
The people are dedicated to what they're doing. Client come first.
For over 75 years, Burns & Rowe has been known around the world as a leader in engineering, construction, and operations services. We have earned a reputation for responsiveness, innovation, and a commitment to all of our clients' needs. This culture of exceeding expectations started with the vision of Ralph C. Rowe, the founder, and 2 following generations of family and professional leadership. That legacy and its culture of responsiveness to client needs is what makes Burns & Rowe the world-class global firm that it is today.
We call it being the best of the best because we want to work for clients who really understand the value of the innovative, high-quality engineering we bring, responsive service, and then we dedicate and commit ourselves to really developing a long-term relationship with that client.
Burns & Rowe has designed a wide range of fossil fuel plants fueled by everything from oil to gas to coal. In fact, we were there for the first conversion of an oil-fired power plant to coal.
Yeah, there was a period in the early 80s when the price of oil had skyrocketed. We were still at that time burning oil for some significant amount of the country's power. So people were looking seriously at converting boilers that had been designed to burn oil into burning coal. One project in Korea actually did go forward. They did what we named a major conversion, which was a real rebuilding of the boiler, basically. And they got to 100% capacity. Took an oil design boiler with a concept that we developed here, converted it to coal.
As the environmental awareness era dawned, power plants increasingly featured new technologies for cleaner and more efficient plants. This removed pollutants and met the most stringent environmental requirements.
The coal plants that we're looking at today are supercritical coal, size-wise about 700 to 800 megawatts, very large. And they are the cleanest plants you can find. We're proud to have just been contracted recently on the cleanest coal project being built in the U.S.
Building upon the new era of rural electric co-ops, Burns & Rowe took on public power utilities, aggregating and forming their own generating and transmission co-op. This built Burns & Rowe an enviable record as one of the largest power plant designers.
The REA plants tended to be real utility-grade, high-quality plants, and they became sort of our standard.
We also assisted in developing the first privately owned, non-recourse financed coal-fired power plant in Southeast Asia.
We have been involved in the overseas markets for a long period of time. We've been involved in Hong Kong. We were one of the first engineers to move into Korea. We did all the early supercritical power plants in Korea. We have been involved in Thailand from the early birth in the power field. We were the first. We did the first feasibility study for a nuclear power station in Thailand. We have been involved in Australia for many years as a result of a joint venture established some years ago. We have had offices in Singapore for at least the last 5 years, and we're recently opening an office in Bangkok from which we're going to be addressing the Southeast Asian market.
In conjunction with our nuclear power activities, Burns & Rowe is consistently ranked as one of the top power design firms by McGraw-Hill's prestigious Engineering News Record. We are proud that our success has been marked by testimonials from the presidents of several utilities stating that the plants we build were built on time and under budget. Burns & Rowe's roots in nuclear power were set down in the 1950s with our involvement in nuclear submarine propulsion. Soon, we were engaged in the work on the first U.S. nuclear plant in Shippingport in Pennsylvania. As the development of nuclear technology continued, Burns & Rowe was selected by the Atomic Energy Commission to build the new production reactor at the Hanford Atomic Energy Reservation, an advanced challenge for the special purpose reactor. Burns & Rowe was also selected by Jersey Central Power and Light to be the engineer and construction manager for the first privately financed commercial nuclear power plant in the United States, the Oyster Creek Nuclear Power Plant.
So it was really a project that was very cutting edge and very a project that also required an awful lot of interaction with an awful lot of people, which is one of the things that Burns & Rowe does very well. When I started with the company in 1974, the company was really bustling with an awful lot of power projects, both for coal-fired plants as well as nuclear. And those projects were really the benefits and fruits of strategies that the companies had set forth in the 50s and 60s and even earlier to concentrate on these specific markets.
As the decade progressed, Burns & Rowe moved to the forefront of the nuclear power plant market, designing and/or constructing some 8,000 megawatts of nuclear power plants around the world. We've designed first-of-kind technologies such as a liquid metal-cooled fast breeder reactor at Clinch River.
Clinch River was what's called a breeder reactor, which actually allows it to produce more uranium fuel than it consumes. The project was very important to us because it was another representation of how Burns & Rowe had developed this first-of-a-kind capability to really take brand new technologies and apply them to the commercial marketplace.
And now as the nuclear renaissance unfolds and new plants are being developed, we are again at the forefront of the nuclear power rebirth, a position secured by our legacy. In the advanced power sector, Burns & Rowe continued to build its legacy of technology and innovation, working with the Department of Energy on programs such as MHTGR or on APT, an advanced linear proton accelerator for the production of tritium.
What we did was to develop a design for a linear proton accelerator, which was a mile long. It accelerated protons to 9/10 the speed of light and operated in the final third length of that accelerator at just a couple degrees above absolute zero temperatures.
The tradition of advancing technology applications remains a core part of our culture and focus. Through the 1990s, markets changed with initiatives for deregulation of the power market. Burns & Rowe responded and became one of the largest designers of gas-fired combined cycle plants in the United States, the favored technology of the independent power producers. With the early legislative moves of the mid-1980s to bring competition to power markets, small cogeneration and other qualifying facilities launched the independent power movement. Burns & Rowe used its power design skills, contracting responsiveness, and flexibility to establish a strong base in this new age of engineering, procurement, and construction management projects.
Another example of a set of projects that really shows how we work closely with our clients and our ability to bring technology and innovation to them is represented by the Calpine and Siemens projects that we've done over the years, particularly the cogeneration project.
And this project was owned and is owned by a combination of an independent power producer, Calpine, and a large international trading company from Japan, Mitsui. We had been doing the engineering on the project, and they asked us if we could expand our scope into doing procurement, services, and construction management and startup. What was different about it was this is a project that's being independently financed. This was a more economic way of doing it, cheaper. We're using local contractors and using our expertise.
Calpine said along the way that they would, for their most complex plans, the ones that were most technically challenging, they would come to Burns & Rowe because of the confidence they had and the very excellent working relationship they had in our ability to design these plants under difficult technical requirements. It's a real mark of the technical innovation and capability as well as the responsiveness that we bring when we get to working closely with the customer.
Waste-to-energy and biomass plants also took advantage of the open access provided by this new competitive power legislation and attempted to deal with another serious environmental issue: what to do with the world's growing waste. Burns & Rowe again applied its technical know-how and designed a major share of the mass burn facilities built in the east coast of the United States. The continuing expansion of deregulation led to the dominance of independent power and gas-fired combined cycle plants, while Burns & Rowe's excellence in design and innovation led it to be the leader in cogeneration as ranked by Engineering News-Record. Turning its outstanding ability to apply technology, the company undertook a reinvention of how work was performed and how projects were executed. Burns & Rowe was one of the early adopters of three-dimensional computer-aided design and engineering.
Traditionally, what we would do is we would have each one of the individual engineering disciplines and design disciplines, electrical, mechanical, civil, structural, do the work on their own set of drawings, and then they would take those drawings and share them with the other groups, and also we would do some composites to be able to see the combined effects. That was a very time-consuming and long process, and also subject to, in effect, a good deal of error.
Computer-aided design and 3D modeling completed the transition from the integrated 2D orthographic drawings to today's use of real-time 3D electronic modeling with advanced features such as automated interference checking.
The computer would actually run a program that we used to run overnight, or still do run overnight, to be able to look at everything and say, okay, well, this actually runs into this other, this pipe runs into this piece of steel, so you need to move one or the other. And it was, again, a very powerful way to make those changes.
Advancing the state-of-art in engineering and construction projects continues to be a top priority focus as we look to the future of renewables, gasification, and other generating technologies. Our tradition, our skill, and our commitment to building long-term relationships with our clients stems from our roots and history over many years as one of our founders' greatest legacies. Our legacy is the key to both your future and ours.
Our approach to the business is to be able to get involved with our clients, respond to their needs, develop solutions specifically related to our clients, and add value.
In the end, it's the technical and creative knowledge and dedication of our employees and the engineers and other staff in this organization that are what define who we are and what we are. Truly, it is the outstanding people that you would be working with as a client of Burns & Rowe that will make the difference in producing a final project that will meet all of your needs.